It is January 3rd, 2013, and it is 5:12 a.m. in the morning. Um, yeah, so not much happened today. Well, actually, um, after my friend Dolores left yesterday, I was watching another movie with her. She couldn't get to sleep, so she went home. But I was watching Bottle Rocket by Wes Anderson, and it is a Wes Anderson movie I have never seen before, and his first, so I had a good time watching that, and I found it quite enjoyable. I think I think it's like one of my favorite films by him. Actually, I find his films are really beautiful, first of all, but a lot of time there's almost too much visuals. It's almost too much eye candy. Or I liked this film because it was more independent and you got to see him, doing the beautiful things he does with film and story and writing in a independent film, kind of low budget, and it's really really good. Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson are in it, and Owen Wilson plays this kind of upbeat but very criminal type. I related to this character a lot, especially the yellow jumpsuit thing. And yeah, so if you see Bottle Rocket, go see Bottle Rocket. It's on Netflix right now. After that, I went to sleep. Then I woke up and took my car over to get inspected. Now I need to get it pass its inspections and get a new inspection sticker. And my check engine light's going off. That means it won't pass a mission, but hopefully they can fix that. Also, one of my rear view mirrors is still attached, but it's detaching, so he's going to replace that, and that's probably going to cost a couple months, a little bit. That's going to suck. Um, but the biggest thing I am worried about is I have, I think I have an oil leak. I can't see any oil um, leaving the car. I don't see any oil spills. Um, but my car is eating up oil like there is no tomorrow. I've been putting up a lot of oil on it, and it's just bone dry every other month. So hopefully that gets fixed, and he puts new oil and checks the tires, and then I can get my car back and go back to school. I'm just worried. I wouldn't be worried usually about not having a car and drive, but I need to get to school. I go to a school that is a commuter college, and I go back to school on the 7th, and it's the 3rd, so I need that. And he's not open on Saturday or Sunday, and the next time he opens after Friday is Monday, 8 o'clock, and I have class at 8 o'clock, and I don't want to miss my first class. I got German and Japanese on that day. Yeah, learning 2 languages, which is pretty sweet. Um, I hopefully will get my car back by Friday, and everything will be good. Um, if not, it won't be the end of the world, but I'll figure something out. As for other things, cable guy came over today, and our cable box outside he had to replace. For several months, we've been having an issue where the internet will just go off. And first they replaced the router, and that worked for a while. But now they had replaced the whole cable box outside, which the whole Verizon box, internet, TV, and everything, and that seemed to fix it. I haven't been kicked off yet. I should have been kicked off tonight if that happened. But anyway, So he came over. And then I went to sleep after that. I was done by 1. Laid around and slept. I didn't wake up until 6, 8-ish, I forget. I started reading Marco Polo's The Travels. Marco Polo. And of course I got the mirror in here, so it looks like Olop Okram. Good old Olop Okram. But now Marco Polo's The Travels. I've been reading that. I haven't got really far, but I like medieval literature. Especially travelogues. I like travelogues. I like just reading about a different time when society was just not like it was today. I'm thinking of reading this with another book called The Travels of Sir John Mandeville. And this is also another travelogue, but unlike Marco Polo, this is complete bullshit. Marco Polo, like, people still criticize Marco Polo today because they're like, well, some of the things weren't exact in it. Well, he was in prison when it was being written, and he didn't write it himself. A romance writer who was locked up with him, who was his cellmate, wrote it for him. So, and he also talks about a lot of things that Marco Polo's dad saw. Now, Marco Polo's dad wasn't with his dad on the first trip to see the Khan. So, like, you have those part of the stories, but you also have, like, Marco Polo stuff told in secondhand by a guy who was trying to make himself more popular. But Marco Polo is mostly accurate. The place names, things, people, time. There are some discrepancies, but some of them you can't even prove are wrong. So it's interesting, especially if you're into history or culture. I'm definitely into culture. I'm into languages and anthropology and psychology and world cultures. So I'm interested in that. But The Travels of Sir John Mandeville is total bullshit. This is like, you can even see there's like this picture of like people with no heads, and their heads are on their faces on their chests. That's actually something in The Travels of John Sir Mandeville. And it's much more shorter than Marco Polo, so I'm thinking of reading both together. Of course, I am going back to school, and I'll probably do the same thing I always do when I am preoccupied with things, is I won't finish it for a long time. I usually finish when I begin. I'm having a problem with the Count of Monte Cristo right now. This is the full version. That means it's like 1,200 pages, and I'm 600 pages in. But I put it down like last year. I read like about 600 pages in like 3 weeks. So I was reading it really quick. But and I found it, I just couldn't put it down. But I had to put it down because I went back to school, and I didn't lose track. I know there's a lot of characters in this book, a lot of characters, but I know who they all are because the book is that interesting that you will remember what's in the Count of Monte Cristo. So I'm thinking about finishing this. Also, I was reading this with other books too. I read a lot of books, so I finished them, but I didn't get to finish this because it was so huge. My dad bought me a lot of Christmas presents, in books, that is. Actually, he gave me a lot of money too, but I actually like the books. I actually asked for the books. I don't have all of them right in front of me, but I do have some that he bought me. Well, first of all, he bought me 2 books last year, which I didn't begin to read, and I plan on reading them soon. Rabelais, Gargantua, and Pantagruel. This is from the Renaissance. It's a very popular Renaissance book. In the same way Shakespeare is popular in English, Rabelais is popular in French. But this is almost like 1,000 pages itself, but some of it's introduction and notes, but so it's really like 800 pages. But this is like heavy medieval crap. I'm also interested in John Potocki, the manuscript found in Saragossa, and Stories Within Stories. It's a Polish writer, but he's writing in French about stuff that happened in Spain. But every story is this guy finds a manuscript in his chest, and it's like, you know, he's at war 100 years before the author was writing, or something like that, or 50 years, some more. I'm not. Yeah. Anyway, but it's very old novel. It's from like the 18th, 19th century, early 19th century, 18th century basically. But it's very surreal because a guy finds a guy finds a manuscript and he starts reading things inside of it, and then other characters in the story tell stories to the guy who's writing the manuscript. In many ways, it's like House of Leaves, but House of Leaves 200 years ago. And it is very much, when I say it's like House of Leaves, I'm just not talking about how it's written and how it's set up, but also the subject matter is about the paranormal, which like House of Leaves is like. Things you can't explain. The manuscript found in Saragossa is like that. No, I didn't get this year, but I'm planning to read it this year. So these are books I plan to read. I'll probably show more books I got because they're upstairs. I just have these in front of me and I want to talk about them. I don't know. I just do. Now, I'm very much into medieval literature, and I think this is going to be a medieval literature year for me. I tried to read Rabelais before, and Rabelais is tough. Because it's not dry humor, but it's very medieval. But I want to read Rabelais with Giovanni Boccaccio's, I don't know how I pronounced that right, but I don't think I pronounced that right, the Decameron, and this is an Arabic book. This is almost 1,000 pages, 800 pages. There's a large introduction. Yeah, it's 800 pages. Now, Rabelais, the guy who wrote it, was a monk, but he was very fucking saucy. He talked about a lot of things like drinking, shitting, and eating, but not much about sex. Where Decameron has a lot of sex in it. This is probably going to be a lot easier to read. You know, and that's also like a story within a story too. These people who are, well, most people know the Decameron, so I'm not even going to go into the details of it, but basically, these people are trying to escape the plague. They're hiding together. They tell a bunch of tales. All the tales are, you know, that make themselves more interested. I mean, like, make things go faster, and they're all saucy fucking sex tales. Now, I got this for my birthday, Christmas. My birthday is very near Christmas, so I celebrate birthdaymas. And the older and older I get, the less people care about my birthday, and unless I care about my birthday, and my birthday kind of messes with Christmas and combines into one celebration. That's very weird. But I get a lot of gifts. I get extra gifts. I've never been one of those people that says, you know, oh, my birthday is around Christmas, therefore I get, you know, I don't. People, my family's very generous. They're not rich, but they're very generous. And my friends are pretty good too. And I'm a bad gift getter. I usually don't buy things because I'm usually poor. But some of my friends that do have money do spend on me, and I'm very grateful for that. But this is another thing I got from my dad. I took an anthropology course this year in college, and he got me Claude Levi-Strauss, Tristes Tropiques. Now, I didn't take the anthropology course because I wanted to take an anthropology course. I had to take it because of my psych degree. It was a required course, but it was a very interesting class nonetheless, and I enjoyed it, and I got a good grade. A B. I got an A. I got an A. I didn't get an A plus. No, I got like an A minus. I thought I got a B plus, but he bumped me up. I could have done better in that class, actually. I could have got an A instead of, A plus instead of just an A, but, that's beside the point. Well, my anthropology class was mostly, it was kind of a propaganda class. It was like, oh, the first part of the class was like watching a film about lost boys, these people from Sudan who lived in Uganda coming to America and living and not understanding things in American society. And then it was a whole critique of American society about how we shouldn't eat fast food, and how we are very judgmental, and we have a lot of assumptions about the world, which is true. But it was also like, we also need to understand foreigners, and their practices and beliefs are different than us, which is true too, and, we need to be sensitive to it, but basically there wasn't much learning. It's in humanities, and humanities are like that. And it was a good class. I enjoyed it. And I usually actually agreed with most of the things he was saying, but I still got that feel it was kind of like, it was to indoctrinate, make us more liberal, make us more accepting. And I already came in pretty much like that, so it wasn't like they needed to sell me anything. But when I went into anthropology, so see, the reason why I'm saying that is, when I went to the anthropology class, I had assumption we were going to study lost tribes in Papua New Guinea and read about that. And we did read a lot about cultures that are not like us, but we didn't talk much about it in class. We read some articles about people in Tibet and how their marriage practices are different, and how they practice polyandry sometimes just to distribute the land among their family correctly, because it's easier to have one woman and 3 brothers or something be married to one person or something, and the property gets distributed better. I thought those readings were interesting and they were good, but we didn't study much about that. And when you think about anthropology, you think about, strange tribes and stuff. Well, this book is a lot about that. It's a lot about things in Brazil. This guy, Claude Levi-Strauss, he's an anthropologist, and it's a very strange book because it's like a travel log. It's like an anthropology book. It's kind of like, it also has a lot of other aspects into it. And anthropology is like that. It's kind of like a lot of humanities combined together. Just as biology is a lot of sciences combined together. You can't do biology without physics, chemistry, math, anything. It's all combined together. And anthropology is like that. It's a lot of like sociology, psychology, ethnography, geography, race relations, gender relations. It's all combined into one big humanity class. And I really wanted to read more about like tribes in Brazil and practices, you know, in Papua New Guinea or wherever. So I think this would be an interesting read for me. Wow, it's 20 minutes already. I just talked for 20 minutes. I thought I was like talking for 5 minutes. I just watched, before I go, I just watched a film called Creature, and it was a crappy alien ripoff from the 80s. It was absolutely horrible. But then this actor, Klaus Kinski, appears out of nowhere, and he only appears for a little while. But Klaus Kinski is this insane German actor, and I'm a really big fan of him, so I was about to turn off the film, but watched the whole thing because Klaus Kinski appeared for 10 minutes on screen. That was on Netflix. It was crap. Don't watch The Creature unless you want to see Klaus Kinski. I gotta go because I just talked for 20 minutes about nothing. But that's my vlog for today.